Hi guys, and welcome to week 2's challenge. Today is all about the meatball. My inspiration for this dish is simple and pretty easy to explain really. Growing up in our house, we ate a lot of pasta and a lot of bolognese sauce. So I figured it was a sauce that stayed with me for my whole life, and it's something that I should pass on to you guys so that you can also use this sauce in the future. It's a good thing to know anyway. I'm going to do a pretty simple meatball but with a bit of a twist. Hopefully you can follow. The first part of the dish is just making the meatballs and getting them on. Remember, if you want the recipes, download them from the website, and it is super important to get those photographs up. I know you want to win some fantastic Palmco prizes, so let's get going. I'm going to talk you through the meatball ingredients first. So we've got 500 grams of lean beef, okay, that's minced beef, and into there we've got 3 rashers of bacon, okay. Now I think with any meatball you need to have 2 types of meat, whether that's beef and pork or beef and bacon, whatever it is, it's really important. I've got 1 onion, and you can see that onion's quite strange there, isn't it? You know, but all I've done is grated it. Okay, so I've just grated the onion, and that way you don't get a full-on onion flavour or the bite of the onion. It's just the flavour through the whole thing. Okay, 2 cloves of garlic, straight in there. I've got a tablespoon of thyme, straight out of my garden. Don't want that stalk. That goes straight in there. Okay, and I've got about 2 tablespoons of parsley, and I think you really need to have that in. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to kind of combine this, and I think the best way to do it is with your hands, so don't be shy, just get into it. You've got to really get into it because there's nothing worse than having a piece that tastes nothing like the rest of the dish, so make sure you get a really good covering in there. Okay, get it all mixed together. Rightio, the next thing, I've got 3 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. Okay, they get pretty decadent. And 2 eggs, okay, you're always going to need something to help bind them together. So you just give those a quick whisk. Bring them together like so, tip those straight in. Okay, now back in with the hands, but before I do that, you know when you put the egg in there, it's going to be really stodgy. So in order to combat that, I've got some breadcrumbs here. And a lot of people use whole bits of bread soaked in milk. But I find that these breadcrumbs work just as well. They soak up any of the excess liquid. And if you do make it too runny, just add a few more breadcrumbs. Okay, straight in, give it a good mix. Okay, that's all coming together really nicely. Okay, no seasoning in there yet, so I'm going to have to make sure I put a little bit of seasoning in. 250 grams of ricotta cheese. Okay, that goes in. Hand in again. Before I do so though, I'm going to give it a good crack of black pepper. Okay, and a good pinch of salt. And then back in with the hands again. Okay, you can see there it's starting to come together nicely. The mix is very sticky, but you can see how it comes together in a big ball like that. That means it's absolutely perfect, okay? Keep mixing it through. You want to make sure that ricotta's all the way through. Okay, so now, the final step is to put that into some meatballs. First off, I'm just going to clean my hands down a little bit, and it's best to have slightly damp hands when you're making the balls. Keep your hands fairly clean, okay? So I'm just going to give them a wash. Okay, so now I'm just going to roll a few balls. Just remember it's really good, as I said, have slightly damp hands, clean hands, depending on how big you want them. Okay. I think that's going to be perfect. Okay, I think about the size of a golf ball. Okay, you can see they are staying together really beautifully. Happy with that. Okay, well I've made 8 meatballs. Obviously there's still a little bit of mix left. I would probably save that for tomorrow, or you know, do them up and squash them into your roll. You can have them for your lunch. Rightio, let's get cooking. Okay, I'm going to cook these on a medium to medium-high heat because I just want to get a bit of colour on them. Okay, so it's important that you bring your pan up to heat as well. You don't necessarily have to use olive oil for this, but I think olive oil adds an extra layer of flavour with any Italian dish, so it's good to use. Okay, tablespoon goes in. Same again, look at your pan. If you see it starting to shimmer slightly, you know it's time to go. You can see that there, and you should hear a bit of a sizzle. Can you hear that? It's just. Okay, I'm just going to roll them over gently. Okay, it's best to do this in a slightly non-stick pan too because otherwise they will stick a little bit. Remember they've got two types of cheese in there. The smell in here is absolutely delicious. You can see there, they are going to be beautiful. Okay, now that we've got a little bit of caramelization around the outside, I'm going to put them into the oven. So you need an oven-proof dish. Okay, set them inside the oven-proof dish. Because they're going to go into the oven for 10 to 15 minutes, if I cook them the whole way through now, by the time they come out of the oven, they'll be too dry. So straight into an oven-proof dish. Okay, and then straight into the preheated oven at 220. Like I said, 10 to 15 minutes. Now you can see in there, I've got a little bit of oil left, probably just over a tablespoon. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drain a little bit of that off. And I'm going to keep the rest because that's some pretty good flavour in there. Okay, so straight into the sauce. Let's bring the ingredients over. Onion, garlic, rosemary and thyme, tomato paste, sugar, and tomatoes. Rightio, as with any good sauce, it's really important first to start off with your onions. You can hear that that is very hot, and I'm going to say too hot straight away. So I'm going to turn it down to low, take it off the heat, give it a good stir. Now that's picking up all of the little caramelised bits at the bottom of the pan. Don't worry about that because that is all flavour. Straight in with your garlic. Give it a good move around. And all we're doing is trying to soften that onion. It's going to be delicious. Already I can smell those meatballs in the garlic and the onions. Superb. There's a bit of a time now. I can add a little bit of seasoning, so I'm just going to take a pinch of salt. Okay, onions do take the salt beautifully. What I find with dishes like this, if you season as you go, tasting continuously, you'll end up with a really good end product. Straight into here now. I'm going to go with the flavourings of the rosemary and the thyme. Okay, they're really earthy flavours, absolutely delicious. It'll soften them up because as they are a woody herb, it softens them up nicely. And once again, as soon as you can smell that in the room, you know it's time for the next stage. It's beginning to fill the room now. So a tablespoon of tomato paste. It's really important that you cook that tomato paste right out. Okay, it should start to almost release a reddish oil around the pan. And I think if you look really closely, you can see it kind of starting to come out now. Just a slight reddy tinge coming out from some of the, and that's the oil coming out of the tomatoes and joining with the onions. Okay, so next stage, straight in with 2 cans of tomatoes. Okay, 2 cans of tomatoes straight in. Combine that through. Okay, you can bring the heat up. Now you can see there actually it's quite thick. And you know that with another 30 minutes of cooking it's going to be well over reduced. So that's why to kind of help relax, you add in some water. Now I'm going to add in, that's almost a cup there. Stir that in, bring your heat up until it begins to boil. Then you reduce your heat to a simmer and let that cook, let it all come together for about 20 minutes. Okay, now I think it's time, we'll check the meatballs, we'll just have a quick look into the oven, see how we're getting on. Rightio, you can see them there, almost cooked through. Oh, they are spectacular. Okay, so I'm going to finish this off now. It's going to go back in the oven for a couple of seconds, but with the sauce, okay, I just like to tip the sauce straight over the top. Okay, the whole lot can go in. Beautiful. Okay. At this point, I just want to put a little bit more parmesan over the top. Why not? A little bit more decadent. And then straight back in the oven for a couple of minutes. And what that does is just bring everything together. It means the meatball juice will soak into that sauce. They're going to be superb. I'm dying to see what photographs you guys can upload. So now it's really about getting ready to plate up. Okay, I've got a little bit of extra parmesan for sprinkling there. Some beautiful parsley. And I've already pre-cooked some pasta. It's just al dente, which means you should just see a little bit of the centre there. Delicious. I can smell those meatballs. I reckon they're ready. I'm going to get them out and bring them over. Oh yeah. Okay. Rightio, now you can see there the oil is starting to come out. That is what we're looking for. They look and smell absolutely delicious. Okay, the meatballs firm to press. They're definitely cooked. So I'm not going to serve this as an individual. I'm just going to bring it out as a family platter. Look at that, sprinkled with a bit of fresh parsley. The smell in here is just superb. I can't wait to see what you can do with that recipe. Impress me. Good luck. We'll see you for week 3.